Hello and welcome to tutorial for assessment task 2, your project part B. This is the second tutorial. As you can see here, this is the part B for your review, KPI evaluation scorecard. Alright, so this is what this tutorial is all about. Okay, so what you're asked to do here is, first of all, to review your KPIs from your draft contract, all right, which you have set in your product specification, in your KPI settings, and in particular also of your statement of work, the SOW, and the terms and conditions in your draft contract, which was then summed up in your enterprise performance criteria, the KPIs, and of course in your overall draft contract. Supply of goods agreements for the agreed initial performance review period of 3 months. Now, as you probably remember from last week's tutorial, I'm scrolling up here, which was the KWL approach, the first part for your report writing approach, research, and we completed already, or you have completed the K and the W, right? And now here in the yellow, remember from last week, once you have completed the W, like where you get your information from, the research, the data, so you can stipulate or establish and evaluate the actual performance, you need to complete the performance review, the KPI evaluation templates, right? Which is of course that part we are discussing today. So I'm scrolling down to that particular part. Okay, now first we continue here with further instructions and explanations. First of all, as I mentioned in last week's tutorial, this part here, the review part or evaluation part, is part of the SPM framework, the Supply Performance Management framework. So the scorecard is kind of the end product, meaning all the things which have been collected, the KWL, in the KW, sorry, which will enable you then to really manage the performance of the supplier or several suppliers. As we also discussed last tutorial, there's not just like one kind of report or one kind of management approach or performance evaluation you need to do as a food and beverage manager. There's many which need to be applied. So the KPIs can be applied to almost all kind of performance related operational aspects, including of course the suppliers. So you need to go back to 1A, 1B, your product good specifications, your statement of work, the KPIs, the particulars, all right, which you have established, the terms and conditions as per the supply of goods agreed in your draft contract from Part A, and that now 100% related to your Part A draft contract, to your supplier, to your items, your products, your specifications, your KPI settings, and so forth. That's now very important you have that. Okay. Then below is a table which you're going to stipulate according for all your KPIs from the draft contract, product specifications, and statement of work, and review the performance over the agreed period of 3 months. Use 3 real examples, incidents of performance below agreed KPIs. Use your own experience from your workplace. Okay, so you have to now identify 3 issues or incidents where the supplier did not meet the agreed KPIs or terms and conditions of the statement of work. That could be below standard of quality of products, over delivery, too much delivered as per ordering list, wrong price, wrong time delivery, replace it with goods which have not been agreed upon, wrong weights, you name it. Okay, there's so many things which could occur. So here I'm asking you to refer and to reflect on your own work experience. You're all working in kitchens or in hotels, restaurants, cafes, so you deal and see suppliers on a daily basis, so you can and see how some of the shortcomings of some of the suppliers are in our industry. So you pick 3 and you use them as part of your performance review. Okay, These will give you the basis and content for your recommendations, suggestions for renegotiating or and termination the agreement in your final report. So that will be then the L, all right, the KWL report writing approach and research, where you can actually then give the recommendation suggestions based on this data, research, real occurrence activities of the supplier reviewed. Now let me scroll down so you can see that how that form looks like. It's built in the Word document. You can just type it in directly. So here's the scorecard. We call this scorecard in the performance review. That's part of the Supplier Performance Management Framework. Now if you look on your LRA under this tutorial, there's like supporting documents. There is one which is quite comprehensive, but I encourage you to have a look at that, because this will give you kind of a deeper insights how the overall supplier management framework system works. As you can see, how the scorecards have the evaluation, they have checklists and so forth. So actually I have a copy here. I'm just opening it. So it's from the government website from Western Australia, as you can see here. It's a 25-page document, so you know it is not something which you have to go through one by one, but it's important that you have a look at some of the key aspects. So this is a government procurement. Procurement is another term for basically the management of purchasing products, goods and services included. So management framework, supplier performance management framework. So that's always when I'm talking about that. So they have like an index here or content. So I would recommend you go through that. If I'm going now really down to the last few pages, they have actually checklists. Just scrolling up. Which you actually can look at. Sorry, there was just one. So assessment scorecard, that's the one I wanted to show you. So here you can see kind of a checklist or like appendix, the way they use some of these scorecards or kind of reviewing systems or performance management systems. Okay, so of course this is now in the context of a bigger scheme or bigger scale, but nevertheless it's the same approach as you have to apply to your KPI evaluation scorecard approach. Okay, so there is appendices, especially here, the overview, the planning, they have a checklist, so it is quite interesting. So I recommend strongly you have a look at this. This will enable you to better understand the overall concept of the SPM, the Supplier Performance Management Framework. Now let's go back to our scorecard. So you put here your supplier name, the review period is 3 months, total score, we come back to that, then prepared by you're the food and beverage manager, and the date of course. Now this is the empty template here. Now I'm going to show you a sample template that better explains how to fill that in. So you can see here are supplier name, the time periods, the review period, and the scoring. Okay, now we'll come back to that. Now here the KPIs. So there's just some examples here, the KPI descriptions, which comes from your statement of work, product specification, terms and conditions of your contract. Okay, you have to list them all. Target, so you know what needs to be achieved. Maybe 80% needs to be on track, or there's no discrepancy, or no deficiencies when it comes to quality. Then the measurement of responsibility. So who is measuring the performance? Is it the receiving, the finance department, or is it the kitchen department, or is it any other particular person or a specific person who measures that, who reports as well? Has the log books, the receiving logs, and so forth. As you can see, the method of measurement, so there will be logs, reports, so that's the evidence you need to have, right, where you can then base your recommendations upon. The tax invoices, the delivery dockets, financial reports, physical observations, and so forth. It really depends a little bit what kind of KPI it is, and what is the measurement, and then the methodology of the measurement. Then you rate the performance, and then actions and comments. 0 is poor, 1 is below, 2 is meeting, 3 is good, 4 is exceptional. So here the first one as an example is 4, so there was no discrepancies found between actual delivery, delivery dockets and tax invoices raised by the supplier. So there was no issue over the period of 3 months. Now in the second sample, there is an issue. So here the comments: at times, 2 occasions, the delivery of products, for example the gala apples, was returned because they were rotten. So this would be then an incident which you will then use as a reason, a justification of certain actions or recommendations in your report. So that will help you as well to get content in your report. So the comment here would be the incidents. So you need 3, all right? 3 incidents which are below expectations. So of course you can say here 2, they meet minimum requirements, because not everything was rotten, not every day. It was just on 2 occasions within 3 months. So, all right. So you have to put that into perspective. And of course, there's much more KPIs you need to develop further down the track. Then the weighing is in percentage. It can't be more than 100%, the total. Weighing means the importance of each KPI. So you have to chop that up according to the importance for the organizations for that particular KPI. And then you give it a score. All right, out of 10, best out of 10. Depending, of course, on your observation, your recommendations, your incidents, what happens, and so forth. So your analysis is scored here in the scorecard. It gives us a total of 44 out of 66, and that will give them an overall score of 7 out of 10. All right. So once you have that, scroll back up to, sorry, just going to go out here. So once you have completed that, sorry, I'm in the right document now, I'm scrolling up again, going to the KWL approach, all right? So now I have all the performance, I reviewed, evaluated the KPIs, all the incidents. Now here I can now type in one ABCD or 2 or 3 sentences, the recommendations, the overall recommendations and solutions based now on the performance of the supplier. So now here, as the food and beverage manager, you give the recommendations how to move forward to your superior, to your general manager, to your senior management, okay, in order for them to give directives or strategic decisions in order how to move forward with that particular supplier. And termination, for example, would also be something which could be looked at, or negotiations, or price needs to be renegotiated, or terms and conditions need to be renegotiated, whatever it is, based on the incidents and the performance. All right, so this is the part B2, which we are looked at today. Next week's tutorial, we're going to look at the final report writing, which is here. And I will spend some time to give some further explanations in order how to move into this part in order to conclude and prepare and write your final report. All right, that was it for today. I see you next week in class, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.